Yeah,
Hello.
let's begin. An interesting conversation. I'm looking forward to this. So yeah, I want to introduce our guest. Well, everybody knows Marty, and Marty's here for a specific reason, obviously, because of language barriers. And Marty also has a lot to contribute to this conversation. But also with us here, introductions here. Gloriane.blais. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes, it's perfect. You are so
Okay,
good
I
in
haven't,
French.
I speak English. I speak Japanese is my second language. I don't speak French. For a Canadian, that's strange.
Wow.
But you have an interesting story because, well, let's start from the today and then go backwards. You filed for asylum in France because of difficulties that you've been having here in Canada with, well, just day to day life and things that you have to do, and especially with the legal matters that you have going on. So, where do we start with this? Where would you like to start?
Just, I don't know. Seriously, it's too big. It's too big, like the case that I'm holding. First, when I reach, just like we will begin like that. When I reach in France and I went to the organization was receive asylum request, like they were all surprised. Like they said, we have seen very few, like USA citizen, but at our knowledge, no Canadian. I said, well, let's begin. Um, I was lawyer since 1999, and I was expert in health law. I was doing a medical malpractice litigation for victim of medical fault, and it's an expertise that is asking a very strong like knowledge, but also like, and I was doing alone with my client. It's very unusual big case like that, and I'm used to do David against Goliath, and I was winning. Okay, and
Just to clarify for the viewers, I'm sure they figured it out, but
yeah.
Gloriane is from Quebec. So she's a lawyer
Ah,
in the province of Quebec. We just
For anyone who's living
but
under a rock, yeah,
it
there you
can
go.
be New Brunswick. It can be New
Oh,
Brunswick
sure.
sure,
too.
yeah.
Or
And
francophone Northern Ontario, whatever. There's yeah,
yes,
that's a
yeah,
lot.
and then I did. I had also I had my bachelor in law, obviously, but I had also a degree, university degree in a second level of university in health line policies. Like I had and very a lot of like training, like in Quebec province, but also around the world, in London, Brazil, from the International Bar Association, from also the University of UN and other association. I was very like interested to be very competent, like very well trained, but also I'm a very strong human being. I'm sorry to say this, but it's the fact that I have to introduce myself properly. And then I did very big case, and I started my law firm in 2004 because I wanted to choose case that it respect my value, like absolutely. And I never had problem in disciplinary area, like no problem. This is my situation until 2021 when problem begin with disciplinary and I may talk about my case, but it's this. I was a lawyer during 22 years, and I'm not anymore lawyer, and I'm the only one lawyer in all Western world that has been disbarred for what I have said. Then it's
Wow,
big.
it's big.
That is big. That is big. So, from what I understand, because there's a lot of lawsuits happening because of what went down in Canada because of the pandemic. Famously in Alberta, there's a lot of cases. British Columbia, there's cases against the public health. Lots of litigation happening now. What's unique about your litigation as
Well, but
opposed to a lot of
before
these
we
other
get to that,
cases?
so you were disbarred for words for were you disbarred because of some of the suits you were doing, or were you just disbarred because of your opinion and you were speaking against something?
There is two file. and it's about these two files, because what they do, it's because I don't want to talk about the case but not lose people. Okay, we'll go step by step, but just like firstly, they start to sue me in this ethic disciplinary, the Bar of Quebec, on a case that I bring to the Supreme Court of Canada. Then it's not just a Quebec province case. It's about all Canadian judicial system, including the Supreme Court of Canada. Then it start the problem with that case that I will talk later. And when the Supreme Court of Canada failed to protect human being in Canada in that case, against the abuse of power of government and the lack of integrity and impartiality of judge under them. The 8th of July 2001, when they failed, the Supreme Court of Canada, they start at the same date the second disciplinary suing. It was about my words about the experimental injection, because as expert in health law, I knew about pharmaceutical law and policies. I knew about.
You said 2001. You must have meant another date. It's later than 2001.
The what?
2021.
Vous avez dit 2001.
2021. Sorry.
21. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So yeah. Yes.
You are there for, you are there for this reason. Then it's because in spring 2021, I was the only lawyer and also the only lawyer expert in health law talk against the experimental injection in spring 2021. And when they begin to talk about to shoot, to inoculate the children, it's at that time I begin to see it's a crime against humanity. In spring 2021, I said, because for me, there was impossibility of informed consent, because it was still in phase 3
experimental.
Clinic. It was experimental. Then don't tell me that it's safe and effective. Then if you say it's safe and effective, you're a liar or you lie. Then if you lie, what you are hiding? It's this the point? Is this like it's for me, it was 1 + 1 = 2. It was just this. It was just logical. And I begin to say crime against humanity in spring 2021. I was not yelling. I do like a first live, because I was not doing live. I was not doing interview. I was just pleading at court very strongly. But I do post. But when like they begin to talk about to inoculate the children, the 27th of May 2021, I do a live that they as a lawyer that is seen by a lot of like all of the province of Quebec in French. And it was on Facebook, but I put on my YouTube channel just to keep as archives. But then they sue me a second time in disciplinary. And when they see, and after I start the 1st of November 2021, the first case at the level of Court of Appeal, at the Court of Appeal in Quebec, but the first case at the level of Court of Appeal about the experimental injection, the first case at the level of Court of Appeal in Canada and in my knowledge in the world, then the 1st of November 2021. And when, like they said, she will never stop to talk. No, I will never stop to talk. And in the disciplinary process was going, like it was not stopping. And after I plead at the Court of Appeal the 31st of January 2022, on that case, I was asking the permission to appeal, and I had a lot of expertise report, like it was very strong. 3 days later, the Conseil d'administration.
The director, the president of the board,
All the board of the bar of Quebec, like the politic organization of the Bar of Quebec, order me without hearing, without that I'm informed that hearing, without let me give the proof that what I was saying. They order me psychiatric examination.
Wow. So
And
and
I refused to pass the psychiatric because it was abuse of power. I said, if I say do this, after they will all go to the family to ask, you want to keep your kids, pass a psychiatric. Like I was following, like I was on the spot. I had to take the good action for the society. Then I refuse, and I
And at
give
what
all
at
my
what
proof.
point does that end, right? Moving into the future, anytime you have a disagreement with the bar, or you have a disagreement legally with a certain thing in society, you just have a disagreement, and they can order you a psychiatric evaluation. That seems a
It's
little
totally,
egregious.
it's totalitarian country do this.
do
And
you feel that I don't know if you can answer this, but do you feel that there was political interference? Like this must not have been simply the bar association that was coming after you. Were they?
the sorry, the it was under my two disciplinary file, like the fact, like they evaluate, but they are not at all my proof. Then they said it's totally like the case that I didn't talk still about the Supreme Court of Canada. I have all the proof that I said. Then they just read like some sentence. They said it's totally like it's impossible, but they never read the proof, and they are all lawyer, like all jurists. Then I deposit the proof. I asked them to to change their decision. Like my proof are there. And about the experimental injection, about the case of the Supreme Court of Canada, this is a very solid proof of 14 volume of proof. But about the experimental injection, it's a proof like 50%, like it's a proof that a lawyer can plead. Like I'm
Yeah.
not
When it's outside of normal procedure, it's not outside of normal protocol, so it's very
totally
fair for you to.
outside.
Yeah, it's very fair for you to bring that up, especially as as a
So
lawyer. I
wow.
mean, this is what
Then
you do.
the-
You argue protocol and
By
procedures. In my opinion.
lawyer, it's not. We are not physician. We don't have to prove it 90% that what we say it's perfectly perfect. We about the experimental injection, by example, we are lawyer plead. Lawyer bring, like it's the debate of different point of view. If you ask a lawyer to stop to talk when, and I had proof, it's mean that you stop the democracy in your country. And they disbar me at the board of director of the Bar of Quebec because I refuse to submit to this abuse of power. They disbar me permanently, like totally, like for life, for all of my life, the March 10, 2022. After they continue the two disciplinary process, but this is it's a stain on the
Yes.
Canadian judicial system. This
And
disbarment.
this was a few years ago. So what happened to you subsequent to that? I mean, are you practicing in a new jurisdiction? Can you practice somewhere else, or is it very damaging to be this?
Good question. As a lawyer in Quebec province, we cannot practice in the other province because we have part of our law is from France originally. It's the civil law from the Napoleon Code. Then if we want to practice in the other province, we have to do a 1 year university, like 8 months, and we have to be admitted to some university offer this program. Then I present I have a very good file, like university. My notes was good, and I deposit my my application for Queen's University and Ottawa University, and they refuse me. Now, Queen's University, they confirm me they receive my application, and they never answer. And Ottawa refused, and it's like it's impossible. I was not positioning myself like for a big job. It was just like a 1 year. It's nothing. Usually people like they are accept for Sherbrooke University, they refuse for like something procedural. Then I deposit in University of Montreal a few months later, and they agree. And I should begin, but I don't know if I will be able in distance. I should begin, supposed to begin at the end of August, in a few weeks, this 8 months. But with my situation in France, we'll see, because if I'm authorized to be a refugee in France, I will be able to practice in France.
So
I got a
yeah.
question
So
here.
basically, you've had the state or the province, the crown, somebody tried to quiet you down, but you're not giving. You've been knocked down, but you're not giving up. So you're still fighting, right? I mean,
I'm
you might
still
have
stand
lost.
up.
You're still standing, and so where? Let's talk about let's talk about your fight now. What's the current? What are you currently doing? What's your battle right now?
Okay, the first one is the most interesting one. I'm thinking, like, for your audience, and it's the last one I start. It's a class action against. I'm not still authorized. I just start, like, it's an application to authorize to start the class action. I start a class action against Justin Trudeau, our great friends, and 34 other lawyers. Then it's I don't sue government. I'm not suing government in this class action. And my knowledge, I'm the only one, and it's for the experimental injection. Their lie. The lie, it's simple. It's safe and effective vaccine. It's a lie. Then it's for the all human being in Canada. The class action that I want to start, like I start the procedure, and it's for the people are inoculate on a lie, but it's also people they didn't inoculate and they are stressed, like, you lost your job, or you lost your friends, or you lost your family, or you be attacked psychologically. We all live this. And then it's for all human beings in Canada, and I sue prime minister, ex-prime minister, Minister of Health, ex-Minister of Health of federal and each province and territory. 35 in all, including Justin Trudeau. Then including in Nunavut, in Whitehorse, I wanted at least one by each province and territory.
So is there something? So Clyde and I often talk about. It's rare that politicians directly get sued. Is there something that happened in the last couple of years that gives you hope that you could win? Like you're one of the first we've talked to who's actually suing politicians.
Why I think I may win, it's because my big case at the Supreme Court that I will talk at the end, because it's a bit complicated and boring for the audience. Then it's because the judicial no, but it's like the fact that
No, I'm just laughing because I always eat my peas and whatnot at the beginning of the dinner, so that all the stuff at the end is the tasty stuff. But hey, if you want to leave all the boring stuff to the end, that's fine. No problem.
because it's the first time you meet me. I won't,
fair
like,
enough.
not be. Yes,
Absolutely, absolutely. Continue.
It's this my drama. It's so complicated, my case. Then when you are host by, like, when I'm invited, it's not a show. It's not interesting. Like if a person is there and critique about, like, the measure but me, it's more like technique, and it's less. It's less a show. We are doing
procedural, and I think this is really important, because I think people don't understand how to go about, because a lot of people are so frustrated. Why is it that we can't get justice? And all that stuff happened during COVID. Why is it that there's no answers to it? Nobody's going after the people who did any of this stuff. Well, you are. You are, and we want to know how is that possible? Is this a possibility? And should more people pursue this?
Yeah, and like, we become all quite like become all expert in health, public health. Since 2020, we become like how we take decision in public health. Okay, we become all expert because we needed to what's happened, how they take decision like that. We have to become all expert in law and in judicial process. We have, because it's a fight, and to a fight, it's not just pleasant, it's not just a show. But I try to smile because I'm a person in love.
But well, I know what you're saying, but it doesn't sound like it's a fair fight. I mean, you're an example of, we in English we talk about lawfare, how the crown has almost unlimited resources and can make things take so long that people give up.
Right.
And hearing your story, it sounds like the very associations that are supposed to protect us, that the associations, that the law societies, if the law societies are interfering, that's concerning. Like, that's very concerning.
Very concerning. Very. Then I start the class action. What was the question about the class action?
We're asking you, why you thought you could win against an individual.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
It's because I know the judicial has difficulties to be courageous, and to be the courage is needed to be to have integrity. You cannot have integrity if you don't have courage, because the courage is like necessary. And I know that the judge, they are some of them, or more than we think, are nominated as like because they have link with politicians. Okay, it's like a fact. Then when they are when they are on their bench at court, they don't feel so comfortable to say some things against government. But in the Constitution, there is three power. There is legislative, the one about the law and the regulation. Executive, it may be the prime minister do an executive task, or anyone, police too. And there is also judicial. And upon the Constitution of Canada, the judicial, and upon the jurists in constitutional law, the judicial is the only, there is no, the media are not in the Constitution. Then the judicial power in the Constitution is the only constitutional power, is the counter power of the abuse of power of the government. Then if the judicial is not there, the government may do what they want.
Yeah.
But if the judicial straighten, the judicial power, then the government, the elected representative, will begin to straighten also, or they will dismiss.
So you're basically saying that, not judges, and let's say judges, they're not as impartial and as we would like them to be.
No, and I have that proof. It's
Okay.
When it's a case between two individuals, okay, usually there is justice, okay, there is no problem. It's when it touched the government. When
Right.
it touched the government, it's when the government abuse their power, okay.
Right.
Not usually, but sometime, okay. And the COVID time, since 2021, what we have seen, everybody, it's the government abuse their power. You may abuse the power through a legislation, or you may abuse your power outside of the legislation. But anyway, you abuse your power as a government. Then if the government, then during the COVID, we have seen abuse of power by the government. My case that I bring to the Supreme Court of Canada in 2021, and they attacked me in disciplinary on that case because they wanted I stop, and I never stop. It's a case that it's abuse of power by the government, but it was before the COVID. But
Okay.
if you think, if you are Christian, if you are religious, or if you are spiritual, and you think there is divine plan, okay, you are not obligated to think this. But you know that the judicial system, it's long to do all the process, to go through all the process and reach the Supreme Court with a case. Then me, I began that case in 2011. 2011,
10 years.
yeah. Then I did the big trial. It was a businessman, a person that I knew since long time. It was a very strong businessman, but he was not connect with friends. And it's the government of Quebec by under Jean Charest. Then my client was as businessman is a victim of corruption, governmental corruption. Then we bring that case, we had expertise, we suing for 35 million. It was very a big case. Why I say the amount, it's not to impress, it's because when we reach the Court of Appeal, when it's a big amount of litigation, they will more look at it than if it's a case of $100 of litigation.
Right.
It's under the law. It's not just a, and in that case, we did the big trial in autumn 2020, front of the judge, my favorite judge. Like, it's a very competent judge. When we fail, it's because you have a lack of competence, or you have a lack of integrity, or both. Okay, but in this case, the judge was very competent, fully competent, but he rendered a fraudulent judgment. It's like they miss a lot of proof in the writing of the judgment, a lot of proof on our side, like very important proof, very, very important proof. A lot. We may say, oh, it's because he forgot, he's not competent so much. No, he's very competent. Then we did another big trial after about another case. He did a very great judgment. And I bring that case to the Court of Appeal of Quebec, is the highest court in Quebec. And they reject, even it was a litigation of 35 million, they reject the case at the beginning without look the proof. It's like at the preliminary step. It's like, because I was used to plead at Court of Appeal, because in the medical malpractice, when you win, you go to fight for the judgment. You go to protect the judgment. I'm used to go to the Court of Appeal of Quebec. Then I bring to an application to authorize an appeal at the Court of the Supreme Court of Canada, our highest court in Canada. And I had the proof that it was a fraudulent judgment. And in the jurisprudence, there was no precedent. Yes. Okay, there was no precedent of a proof of a lack of impartiality, but volontaire.
Wow.
Volontaire. What is it? Volontaire?
Voluntary. Yeah.
Okay,
or voluntary, or maybe deliberate in this case. Deliberate,
meaning like there was in Canada precedent that a judge lack of impartiality because he has an unconscious bias. Like meaning
unconscious bias, yes, of course.
Exactly.
You're very familiar with that term from the past few years. Yeah.
There was case like that. By example, the judge has unconscious bias about Inuit or Autochtone or First Nation or woman. You know, it was unconscious. Yeah. Then this was in the precedent, but there was no precedent about a deliberate, like a fraudulent judgment. And the constitutional, the only constitutional obligation as a judge is to be impartial. Is a constitutional obligation. Then it's in the Constitution. The Supreme Court of Canada has to make sure that it's followed. And I have the proofs, 14 volume, that it's a fraudulent judgment. The Supreme Court of Canada, when I deposited this case in March 2021, the Chief of Justice of the Superior Court of Quebec, the level of the trial, the boss of all of the judge in Quebec, deposit just after I deposit the case at the Supreme Court of Canada. The Chief of Justice of the Superior Court of Quebec deposit at the Syndic of Barreau the disciplinary, like he asked, oh, you have to look at this lawyer. She says shit on her brief, but I have the 14 volume of proof. And after the Bar of Quebec, the syndic, the disciplinary, start the disciplinary process. Soumis disciplinary, my first disciplinary, and he admit on oath in two audience, the syndic of Bar, that syndic, I don't know how to say in English, like the one start the procedure in disciplinary, in ethic, admit after, because I asked the question, did you read the proof in the 14 volume of proof? Like you may say I say shit, but if you don't read the proof, you cannot say I say shit, or sorry for my language. Then they admit 2 times. Sorry, because I'm born on a farm. I'm a very countryside.
I'm a mechanic. Marty's an engineer. We
yeah, but so Gloriane, so you've provided some really fantastic context. So obviously you're in simple terms, you're not the favorite person of the courts in Quebec or the politicians. I mean, they don't like you, and they're trying to make your life miserable. How miserable are they trying to make your life? So what happened to you in the last 3 years? Why are you in France right now?
Yeah, yes, why were you concerned about your safety? Okay. That's a big thing, that your safety.
Yeah, but it's the point. I just want to finish this. I know it's long. I told you it was boring. It's
important context.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very important. It's when this is my first disciplinary, like suing. The second is about my words about the experimental injection, and the disciplinary, like they disbarred me because I didn't submit myself in the psychiatric examination. It was the board of director of the Bar of Quebec. But the disciplinary process about this case at the Supreme Court, I follow all the steps on the appeal, all the steps. Like I did all the steps on this disciplinary. I said to the judge, read the proof. They said, oh no, they don't say this in the proof, but they were lying each judgment. Then the 17th of May 2024, I deposit again in front of the Supreme Court of Canada my case that it was 14 volume of proof. I bring back this 14
like
volume.
That's 2 months ago. Like that's this summer. Like this year.
Yeah,
like,
I deposit back the same, and I said to the Supreme Court, it's time to say that you have done an error, and this case is now on their desk.
Docket or yeah.
Okay, then they will take a decision in around 1 month. This is a big decision, because if judge in Supreme Court admit that they failed, that I'm right, it's not because I want to be right. Okay, it's not about this. If they decide that it's not. If they decide that I'm right, then they have failed. Meaning they will decide to choose. They will decide to choose integrity. And if the Supreme Court of Canada decide this, it will be like a big tsunami on all the judges in Canada, and I think all in the Western world. It's a very important case. Then if I come back with the question, why you think that the class action against the 35, personally I suing 35 liars, the Prime Minister, ex-Prime Minister, and Minister of Health and ex-Minister of Health, because if I win this at the Supreme Court, all the judges in Canada will hear me properly. They will say, "Oh, it's gloriane.blais."
So this case right now, are you representing yourself, or do you have other lawyers that are helping?
No,
You
I
can, so you
represent
can
myself.
explain that to us. Like you can represent yourself if you've been disbarred. I guess you
Yes,
that
because it's like a person is not represent. Like I'm not
okay,
represented. Okay,
okay.
and in about the asylum, then what's happened? It's I knew that the Supreme Court of Canada didn't like why the Bar of Quebec sue me in disciplinary. Okay, it's because some people don't like that I show the proof that all the all the Canadian judicial system fail to protect the human being when there is abuse of power government. It's the same similarity of the COVID time that it's not
Mm-hmm.
finished, because if it's not COVID, it's another abuse of power of government. They will oppress in individually or collectively. Then I lost my mind. Yes, then I knew that I was disturbed because, like, all the sue they do in disciplinary, it's like they attack me, They they take off. Oh, do you hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, because I
Yep.
think, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Then
we hear you.
they attack me. Then it's very huge what they do to me. They try to destroy me, and I think I'm particularly very strong. But when I start the class action, I receive a mail from a lawyer. Um, I start the class action the 27th of March 2024, and the 11th of April, I receive a mail of a lawyer. If you don't take off your class action, you will have more problem. And for me, I lost my title as lawyer, my business, because I had my own law office, all my possibility to earn my life, like to have money, like to
Possibly your livelihood. Yeah, yeah.
yes, that I bought. I lost everything. Then you said I will have more problem. Like for me, it was a threat of life. But it will not say a lawyer that I will try to kill you. Or will then I called the 911. I was living in the city of Quebec City, the beautiful Quebec City, and I call the police of 911, not just like at the police station, the 911. For me, it was, and I explained the situation. I was not panicking, but I was explaining, and I said, for me, it's a threat. And I never receive, and I'm very known in Quebec province, like by not just the people awake, like if everybody like know who is gloriane.blais, the one, the anti-vax, and they know like that I may be threat, like it's obvious, like some people are being killed around the world, like police are not so stupid, and they never they receive my call, they register, like, but they never call, like they never come to see me, like they just receive my call and they never treat my call. And after 5 hours I said, okay, I will not be protected in Canada.
So you left Canada. So wow, that's
I book I book a flight. I book a flight, and this only first flight from Quebec City, because I wanted. It's a very small international airport, Quebec City. I thought it was safer. Friends of mine in Stéphane Sévigny come with me in France, just like to help me to protect. He has security cards. Him, like he knows about to protect. He cut my hair, tint my hair. I put red lipstick. I never put like a big hat. Like during the first 1 month in France, because there is camera everywhere, I was always wearing a glass and a hat. Like it for me, it was very serious.
yeah, and now and so then you're in France, and in France you could have just gone, you resided there, I suppose, in exile and come back to Canada later on. But then you told us earlier you took an extraordinary step. You actually applied for asylum in France.
Yes, I decided to take this step because I was not safe anymore. I'm suing Justin Trudeau. We have to understand. I'm troubling the Supreme Court of Canada. Then I decide. Some people said yes, but it's not better in France. Yes, but we have to be strategic. Okay, I cannot explain everything here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and if I'm going to Gabon and I ask Asylum and they give me what is the effect, you know, we have to be, we have to take we have to take perspective when we take action. I'm still fighting me. Then I deposit. Today. I deposit on social network, but it will deposit Monday. My procedure at the court, National Court of Asylum in France. I begin the process, but now I'm in the second step, and I deposit all the 19 volume that it proved that all the Canadian judicial Canadian system failed, and they attack me. Then it's not just about the death threat, but
This
it's
is
also about
fascinating.
the.
This is,
Then
I mean,
for
you're
me,
so brave. You're so brave. This is fascinating. This is,
for
so
me,
you're basically, you're going to, you're claiming asylum as somebody who's being either politically oppressed or threatened, and
exactly.
you are, and you're going to prove, and as part of your asylum claim, you're going to provide how many pages of documents, like
Oh,
thousands or
it's so much because the document you just show, it's 17 page. It's not a lot, but there is a link of
yeah.
and you can go get the 19 volume of proof for the case of the Supreme Court, meaning judge in France will analyze what the Supreme Court of Canada did and failed. What does it mean? It
Wow.
means that the judge in the Supreme Court of Canada and other judge know that the judge in France look at it. Then the judge at the Supreme Court of Canada, the 19th volume that they are studying now, they said, "Oh
Oh,
shit, maybe we
you
should
are
take
our
maybe
kind
the
of
best."
person. You are a shit disturber
Yeah.
extraordinaire. I mean,
What a clever way of getting some other judicial review,
wow.
even on a global stage. That's amazing. I like that. That's
By
clever.
me, I'm a very intuitive person. Okay, I follow my inner voice. I'm a very spiritual person. That when I do step, I follow my inner voice. And you may call me crazy. For me, it's unconscious to call crazy a person talk about her inner voice. For me, I follow my inner voice. I'm very strategic, but I don't understand every time I step. Like I say, okay, I feel to do this. I do this. Okay, friends. Okay, and it's after I said, "Wow, it's so great!" Like I'm not, I received some help. I think higher than myself yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Well,
Clyde, we'll have to have
speaking of
her back on
receiving
the show.
help,
Like, Clyde, there's going to be a follow up on this, right? This story has got, this is our first interview. We're gonna
yeah,
talk
for
to
sure.
her again for
Yeah,
sure.
we
It's
gotta bring this up again.
Now,
But
just
speaking of
because
providing help, I just want to
yeah,
say this:
okay,
yeah, thank
there
you.
there is a give, send, go. Get out
Yeah,
there and provide some help, because like legal battles like this, they are not cheap.
no,
They are not, and especially when
no,
you've been disbarred, your livelihood has been taken away
no,
from you, and your ability to clothe yourself, house yourself, all this stuff. So aid is what we can do. People ask, like, well, what can I do? What can I do about this stuff? Well, here's your opportunity. Here's your opportunity to help out and do something in this way.
do you
I
have
wanna encourage people to
you
do that.
must have allies and friends in Quebec? Do you have allies and friends here in Alberta and in British Columbia where Clyde and I are?
but allies, what do you mean?
People like uh, other lawyers that can help you or that are familiar with your case, or do you know
It's
Eva
like
Chipia here in Alberta?
in Quebec province, what I've seen, it's if some lawyer, because I always give all my proof, like it's since 2021. It's I think they're scared to be disbarred. They don't want to talk even, and but about the finance. Okay, I just want to say that I'm disbarred since March 2022, and me, I'm 49 years old, and I had my two children at 40 and 41, and I a bit slow I continue to work, but like I don't have a big amount. I was like taking care also of my kid and doing my big case in the same time. Then when I lose my title, I never think I will lose like that my title. Like not just for 3 months, I lose my title, or for 1 year, for permanently. It was very difficult to survive during the last 2 years, and like by example, the case that I redeposit in the Supreme Court of Canada of 19 volume, it cost 10 because I worked with a firm like do the document like perfectly like upon the procedure. Everybody do this when they go to Supreme Court. It costs 10,000 because it's 19 volume, 10,000 of Canadian dollar, and about like the class action to sue everybody, just like the fee of the court, it's not just 200, it's a class action, it's 2,000, 1,950 or $55, and to notify like to by bailiff to all the 35, it costs more than 10,000. And this this money I don't have. Like by example, when I reach in France, I had like the 10,000 at the Supreme Court, the 5,000 for the bailiff at that time. Then I decide to prioritize this procedure because for me it's for the future of the children, and I had no money else. Even I asking donation, then I went to eat at the Armée du Salut. I don't know,
Salvation Army. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm not sad. I don't want to complain, but what I'm saying is I'm doing all for the Canada, but for the Western world where there is still hope for human rights, because it's not in totalitarian country like China that there is hope for human
Not
rights
yet.
at the short time. No. And Justin Trudeau is a very big friend of China, by the way, if you never know.
Yeah, so we've been talking about this largely.
Wow.
Well, here we are.
Well, this is what we
do.
do. So, I followed your story a little bit, and this morning, I think it was, I said somebody needs to put you on the podcast. Me and Clyde frequently talk, and people will. We're just giving you a voice is all we want to do. I'm sure we'll talk again. I mean, your story's fascinating. And like I said, I think it fits in with, personally, I think there is we are finally having a pivotal moment where we're finally getting the truth of COVID and some of the insanities that happened in the last 3-4 years. The truth will come out because of people like you and others. The truth will come out, and that's why we wanted to bring you on, because your story fits with a lot of other stories that are going on in Canada right now. It may be one of the craziest ones that we hadn't heard.
Why to go to by the judicial? Another reason, because each strategic action, there is many reasons for each. Strategic reason. One, why to pass by the judicial is also to accelerate the revelation of the truth. Meaning, yes, if we talk between us and but when we pass by the judicial, if it's work, it's accelerate like a tsunami. And it's
you're talking about things like just the disclosure, right? Just going through the process and forcing the other side, the government, to disclose information is valuable. Even if you lose, you win in the court of public opinion, and you get some information that's
exactly
revealed. Yes.
I forgot. I'm doing a third case. It's personally, not as a lawyer. I received a mask ticket the December 2020. A mass ticket. I was lawyer, and I did a video, like it passed everywhere, even in the mainstream, like what's going on. And when we watched this video, oh yes, she's right, okay, because I knew what's going on, and because I was asking the police to stay peaceful, okay, because it was not it was not the people who participate in the demonstration was violent. They was with their children, and they were like very peaceful, and and with this ticket of mask, what I decide, because in my inner voice, okay, it was saying to me to keep that mask ticket. But I was lawyer. I was like, I will pay this, fucking 1,500. Like I have no time for this. But it stayed in my inner voice, like keep it. And then when I lose my lawyer title, I said, okay, I understand everything. I will take this marvelous mass ticket to then my defense. I was able. I had a very good argument, just like to not pay this ticket. But no, I admit I was not wearing the mask, and then I may attack the constitutionality of the public health law of Quebec, and I'm at my own age the only one attack not just a regulation, but really the Public Health Act. At my own age, I'm the only one in the world, in the Western world, then to attack the constitutionality. The first court reject my procedure at the beginning because like they did the illegal judgment that I appeal. And I bring to the Superior Court of Quebec. I will have a hearing on the appeal the 7th of October 2024 at the Montreal courthouse. But also in that case,
are you going to do that one by correspondence? Or are you going to? Do you feel safe to travel back to Canada?
I will do by I will probably do by video because except if they don't want to respect the international law about asylum. But I think they will not go there. And after also in that case at the Superior Court and the level at the level of appeal, I ask also a request, a motion to if I win the appeal to not come back to the first court, to stay at this level, because they have the authority to declare for everybody, not just for me, the unconstitutionality of the law. Anyway, they reject my motion. It's a little motion, but it's important. And I bring to the Court of Appeal of Quebec. They reject my permission to appeal, but they say good words in the judgment. Then I bring that case to the Supreme Court of Canada. And this case, it's complete, but it's not still on the desk of the judge. Then if I win on the case of the Supreme Court, the 19th volume, this may have an effect on this, and the other is about the COVID.
Yeah.
It's not finished.
Wow.
Clyde, I have to leave, unfortunately, and I'm sure hopefully you guys carry on a little bit. But Gloria,
what we can do is we can have you on again another time, and we could even do this on a live stream format in a couple of weeks, because that would be a lot of fun. Because I want to encourage people to ask live questions, because there's probably so many people have many questions for you. And
and I will have probably the date of my at the court for asylum. I will probably have it's a public audience in Paris. I will probably the date. Then if you say yes, but will not go to Paris, yes, but I'm like more people follow what I'm doing, then I share. And like there is two today there is two independent media from UK contact me to have interviewed, then meaning like they may be interested about your interview, because you are the first interview in English. I just do an interview in French because I just published, I just post for my safety. I was not able to post before. I just post like the procedure I do at the court at Asylum, meaning you are the first interview in English about all these. I will next time talk about the date of my public audience in Paris, if you want to come to Paris to see the Eiffel Tower.
I don't know if I want to go to Paris. I'm going to be completely honest with you. But no, let's have you back on to see this story as it develops, because this is... You have some cojones. Let's just say that for the least. You have some cojones. You got some courage to go after government officials and to go right to the Supreme Court all by yourself. Stand up in front of a corrupt judicial system I've got nothing but kudos for you, and let's have you back.
Absolutely.
Everybody, links are in the description down below on how you can support her in this fight, as well as social media links. So get over there and show your support as much as you can. Thank you guys for joining today.
Yeah, and you'll be able to find this link tomorrow and share it on Twitter and places like that. So yeah, it's fantastic talking with you. Yeah, I hope we do talk again. Actually, I'm surprised we never talked before, even on just so you know, I worked in Quebec City for 3 years, 2016 to 2018, and I spent a lot of time in court because I was the president of a company called Petrolia, and so we were fighting the government all the time. So I know your battles, but my battles were done with a lot of help. Right, corporations fighting have a lot of resources. So yeah, fantastic. I gotta bail. I definitely gotta go. But yeah, pleasure. Good chat tonight.
Thank
Cheers.
you very much for everybody, and thank you to support me. Even it's just a little amount. Just think about the sacrifice I do for the future of our children. Why I'm talking about the future of our children? It's because not even you don't have kids. It's the veteran, the one went to the war. It was for us. They did like 50 years ago. Then, if we think to give something to the society, we have to fight now. And to fight is we may smile, but we have still to fight.